Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah.
Melanated!
90 Day Fiancé? 90 Day Beyonce! Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days, wherein we meet Larry. But first, let's start from the very beginning. I took notes and let's get this started. Let me tell you about this lip color. I've decided that this is going to be my thing for 90 Day Fiancé. I am just going to wear crazy lip colors that I would normally never wear, but that I have in my collection. So this one is Perfect Tone Matte Lip Cream. It's by Black Radiance, and the color is called Melanin Goddess. So this is episode 5. If you have not watched my 1 through 4 episodes, it's in one video, and I will link it above, and it will be linked down below. So go check out that so you can come up to speed with what we are talking about in this episode right now with 90 Day Fiancé, girl. So this episode is called Secret and Lies, wherein they divulge no secrets nor lies. Like, I don't know why. It's like they named this episode Secrets and Lies so only so they could reveal the secrets and the lies for next episode. This is running really slow. I feel like this episode, nothing really happened. All right, so the first couple that we see is Paul and Carini. First of all, I know this child's name is not Carini. I'm gonna call her what I think it is. I believe her name is Carini. So I'm gonna call her Carini until like something is said differently. I believe her father and her mother call her Carini, so that's what I'm gonna call her. It makes me so mad that Paul is not saying her name correctly. Why does that make me mad? Because I feel like it's a disrespect to her culture, and that is a whole other topic that I have to talk about with the way some of these Americans talk about the people who are from these other countries as though like because they're not American that somehow they're like an alien from another planet or they don't have the same core human values. But listen, we can't get into that right now. Paul and Carini. This is day 2 and Paul makes some sort of comment like he couldn't keep his hands off of her. It was really hard for him to like hold back, and I'm just like, what? In pictures, Paul doesn't look that bad, but when you get around him and you realize his energy is like, ooh, it's like Mr. Burns, like without all the success. Ugh. I just can't believe it. I feel like something's up with Paul. Something not right with him. Something not right with Paul. So they're in the hotel room. She asks him what they want to do for the day, and because he's not a real man, he defers it back to her. Oh, like, I don't know what you want to do. Girl. He then puts on a cooling pack, which is like a vest filled with frozen discs or frozen plastic things to keep himself cool while he's in the Amazon. They go out, he's wearing chanclas and socks and a wife beater, a cooling vest, and some shorts. They're going to the river. She suggests to go to the river because he didn't make a choice. And he's like scared and worried about the river because remember that lady told him that there is like parasites that can go up the pee-pee hole. When they get there, he's really nervous. And she even makes like some comment to the camera in her confessional talking about how like weird it is that he's so neurotic, and she wants to like break him of that like nervous, anxious behavior. So they get there. He then goes into the bathroom, puts on some like pee-pee cover, I'm sure a condom. Then he puts on like some pants, some like water pants, a life vest, and check this, he still has his socks on. She goes ahead and gets into the river, and then he follows shortly and like doesn't know how to swim, doesn't know how to wade water. She's just like, please take all these clothes off. He's like, no, I can't take all these clothes off. And she's like, well, I mean, it's just going to weigh you down, which is exactly what it did. And while he's in the water, he's like, poo-poo water, poo-poo water. And I'm just like, stop being fucking rude. Like, it's like, and he probably doesn't even think he's being rude at all, but he's just being rude. If she could understand him, she would be like, why do you think I would bring you into a river that has poo-poo in it? Like, yeah, when you go to another country, you run the risk of getting dysentery and getting all these things, but like you already know that. And if you're really going there for love, then it wouldn't matter. Yeah, you would be a little cautious. I would be cautious too, but like you got to roll with the punches, bro. Like if you didn't want to go in the river, you could have just said you didn't know how to swim, or like you're just going to put your feet in because you're scared, like something, but don't make it seem like you're not going in the river because you're going to get some sort of dangerous disease. He comes out of the water and everything is soaked. She has to help him get out. She's like laughing at him, but she's also embarrassed at the same time if anyone were to see this fool acting up in the water the way he did. And he's like, give me a towel. Like he doesn't want to open his eyes because like he doesn't want the water to get into his eyes. And he's like wiping his eyes off, and he's like, oh, this is what I do for love. I almost got typhoid, or I run the risk of getting typhoid fever. I hope she understands how much I love her. It makes me so mad. So he's like, oh yeah, like I wish Carini spoke more English, which is a very American thing to think. Like, why don't you speak my language? I'm American. Why don't you speak English? My thing is that he had so many resources to learn Portuguese while he was dating her. Why didn't he learn more things in Portuguese before he went over there? 1, 2, she actually speaks more English than he does Portuguese. So then that's it. He's like, oh yeah, I love you so much. So next we go and we meet Larry. So Larry is 37 years old. He lives in Florida. He has 2 kids that are 14 and 18. We have Lucian and Lawrence. Larry is dating a 24-year-old Filipino girl who currently lives in the Philippines. Larry is really, really sad and lonely, and he is a manager at McDonald's. He says that he's been working at McDonald's for 10 years. I was a little like, you've been working for McDonald's for 10 years and you're only a manager? And that's a little weird for me because McDonald's is one of those companies that if you just show your worth and show yourself, like the opportunity for growth is large because there's so many McDonald's everywhere. So maybe he didn't apply himself enough, because if you're working for McDonald's for 10 years and you're only a store manager, that's not good, bro. He should at least be a district manager. That tells me a little bit something about him and his ambition and his priorities, because like he's also like really burnt from the women that he had the kids with. He's like, his kids have 2 different mothers, and so he felt like he really tried and he wanted things to work out with these women, but it never did. And I'm like, yeah, because you're low-key a loser, but like I don't know his life and I don't want to judge him right now, but like he says that his kids are his best friend. He talks to his kids about everything. He has been dating Jenny for 2 months now, and he's in love with her. He's just absolutely head over heels in love with her. And he has a lunch with his sons to tell him that he's not only is he in love with her and going to the Philippines, but also he's bought her a ring. Needless to say that his youngest son, Lucian, thinks he is a nutter butter. Like, his older son is kind of like, why didn't you tell me? But I'm happy for you if that's what you want to do. I hope this works out. And his younger son is like, how do you know she's just not here to get her green card? Like, what do you, okay, you're in love? Oh, okay. Like, he is side-eyeing and like trying to be a good sport about this whole thing, but Lucian is not. He's not with it. His sons say that they hope this works out for him, because if it doesn't, that he'll never try to talk to another girl ever again, and that he'll just be sad and lonely for the rest of his life, and they don't want that for him. So then we move to Patrick and Miriam. I remember the French girl's name. The Parisian girl, her name is Miriam. And Patrick is sitting with his mom and this woman who is doing his hair. But at the end of it, I don't even know exactly what she did, because his hair looks exactly the same to me, but whatever. Stylist in his mom's kitchen, and they're just talking about his trip to going to Paris. And he talks about how much he loves Miriam and how his mom is his best friend and he can tell her anything without her judging him. And the mom is saying how worried she is. Miriam might not be the person that Patrick thinks she is. And just worried about, because Patrick has a daughter, and so there's, other things to think about. Also, she's like, why couldn't he find somebody who was closer to home, somebody that like I could meet, which are all valid thoughts. So then Patrick is sitting there and he's talking about how he just fell in love with her and how he thinks that she is just one of the best people he's ever met. And some of his worries that he's going to go there and she's like married or a lesbian or something. And then his mom chimes in with, I don't want to call it transphobic, because like my brother tells me that I need to give people a chance, because he feels like understanding and knowing about the trans community is a relatively new thing. But I mean, just the comments that ensue. His mom says like, what if it's a man? And that bothered me because she immediately took away Miriam's humanity. What if it is a man? Like, I just thought that whole line of conversation was just really like annoying. I mean, I get it. People are from other areas in this country where they're just not around the trans community. And so it's very easy to like push them away and like make comments that are insensitive. But like, I don't know. It's just like, meh. Patrick is saying how Miriam followed him on social media and then they've been dating ever since. But when you hear Miriam talk, that's not what happened. But Patrick says that he's worried that her religion is going to get in the way. The mom is like, I don't knock the religion, but their upbringing is so different than us in the United States. I'm like, why are you comparing nationality to religion? Are you saying that Parisians are raised different than Americans? Or are you saying that Christians are raised different than Muslims? Like, the ignorance surrounding Islam is so astounding to me. Very, very evident that Patrick is in this way more than Miriam is. And I think that's his own fault. I don't blame her at all. Now we go to Abbie and Shawn, and they're in the bed after just waking up from their first night together. And then in their confessional, Abbie was like, yeah, you know, I had to teach him like what I liked. And I was like, Shawn is a 47-year-old man, and he didn't go in there and rock her socks. She's 20 years old. You didn't, this lifetime of experience of being with women did not prepare you to having sex with Abbie? This is all very suspect, you guys. I'm worried for Abbie. Next, we go back to Larry and Jenny. Again, Jenny is the 24-year-old Filipino girl. And Larry is talking with the producers, and he goes to her OK Cupid or her Cupid Filipino profile on his phone. And he's like, oh yeah, her profile's still here. And they go through, and he sees that that she was just active a week ago. And that makes him a little worried, and then he decides that he's going to be effing weird and call her out of the dead of her sleep. Why were you on the website last week? It says that you were on there a week ago. And she's like, babe, like, I was, but like, I'll show you when I get here on my phone, like, you know, whatever. And he's like, oh, so your phone logged you in? She's just like, yeah, babe, yeah, I'll talk to you when you get here, okay? I'll see you soon. He's like, oh, okay, see you in 2 days. And he's like, yeah, so, yeah, it could have been something wrong, like, you know, the site might not be accurate. And I just think to myself, like, one, who cares that she was on there a week ago? 2, you've only been talking to her for 2 months. 2 months. I don't know. Like, I've gone back onto dating websites just merely to go through somebody's profile to see if there's anything in there that I didn't read or that I overlooked. And maybe that's what she was doing. Or maybe she was looking at guys' pictures. Like, it's fun. Like, these people put way too much energy into these relationships that have only been around for 2 months. Like, stop being ridiculous. So we go back to Paul and Carini, and Carini takes him around the Amazon, and they go into this, like, hut to be with some villagers, a local tribe, and they do some, like, tribal stuff in a hut. And they paint his face, and she feels like he's opening up, and Paul makes some comment. It's like, now he feels more at home in the Amazon. I just want to punch him because it's so stupid. So then Paul and Carini go back to her family, and it looks like it's like a little bit of a family gathering. Paul wants to ask her dad for Carini's hand in marriage. And at first, like, he like brings up his app, and he's like trying to say the words in Portuguese, and the dad doesn't understand. So the dad mimes to someone like, go get my glasses, which is very clear to everyone who's there. And so he's like, no, like, basically he doesn't understand. And so then Paul decides that he's just going to mime it. He's going to mime, can I have your daughter's hand in marriage? So he thinks that somehow, with all the cultural differences, that he's going to be able to mime how one asks for someone's hand in marriage. Do they get down on bended knee in the Amazon to ask someone's hand in marriage? I don't know, but Paul seems to think that that's what everyone does. So he gets down on his hands and knees, and he's like, Carini, Carini, Carini. And he just kept seeing her name, and then he's like, Carini, Carini. Like, what does this look like? He is a nut. He is an absolute nut. So then finally his glasses come, and then Paul's like, oh, his hands in the phone, hand in marriage. The dad calls over the mom, and then they respond, yes, you know, they do. And they're actually happy. They're like, you know, it would seem that he isn't just here to play around, and that it's nice that an American man would want to marry someone from such a poor family. Maybe for them, they're like, if this man wants to marry my daughter, he wants to take her and give her a better life, and it'll be better for her. And that's all we could ever ask for her. And that's great. And I think completely valid. They were right for that. And so he's happy, and he's like, it's going to be kind of awkward because I don't even know if I want to marry her. So I hope this works out. I hate him. And then we go back to Shawn and Abbie, and Shawn is meeting Abbie's family, and Abbie's mother is not having any of it. Abbie's mother is just like, however, she looks so fly with her pink lip and this little fro was so thick. and luxurious. I was just like, I want my hair to be like that. I thought her mom was so cute. So they're in their house. It looks like it's Abbie, like 2 of her brothers or 3 of her brothers, and then her mom and dad. And the dad is basically like, what guarantees are you going to give us that you're just not going to be here with my daughter for a couple weeks and then bounce and we'll never hear from you again? Because that's what happens. Like, Americans come to Haiti or come wherever, mess around with our daughters and our nieces, and then they promise all these things and they just go back to the States and you never hear from them again. Like, what is your guarantee? And so Shawn is basically saying that he loves Abbie and he wants to take care of her, and that if it came down to it, would they be okay with them getting married? And so that makes the dad feel a little bit better, because he's like, okay, so this is serious. So you're actually here asking for her hand in marriage, if that's what it comes to. And if that's what it is, okay, I give you my blessing. Mom is still very skeptical. Yeah, she doesn't want her daughter to waste her time with this man, especially because her daughter's still really young. It's not like she doesn't have options. And also, Abbie is educated. She's going to school. Like, I feel like Abbie is on the up and up. Like, she doesn't need this. Like, she's going to be very successful on her own. She's got the upper hand. She's the awesome one to me. Is my brush on? Okay, so then we jump back to Patrick and Miriam. So Patrick 25, Miriam 22. They've been talking for about a year now, I think. That's what I'm gleaming from this. Miriam is like, yeah, I was talking to Patrick, and it's so much easier to talk to somebody via text when they're a million miles away. And he's so cute. He looks a little bit like Chris Brown. He has a nice body, he has a beautiful face. And so we started talking, and you know, it's I didn't think he would come here, basically. She's like, yeah, he said to me last year, oh, I'm gonna come to Paris and visit you. But I was thinking like, okay, yeah, you're gonna come to Paris and visit me, like, cool, whatever. And then she's like, and then 2 weeks ago he told me that he bought his ticket. And I'm just like, oh. And she's like, there's something I haven't told Patrick, and I have to tell him, and I hope that it's not gonna ruin his trip. I really think that Miriam did not mean to lead him on, because I think that you can have a relationship with somebody online and just text back and forth and live in like the fantasy of that, and then but you never think it's going to actually come to reality. She's probably thinking that he's got his own life too, that he's living, and he has a daughter, he has other things going on, and so when he says that he has a ticket and she's coming, she's like surprised, you know, she's excited to see him, but she's just like, I didn't expect this. And he gets there and he's like looking her up and down, like he just wants to eat her. He's so excited because he's so in love with her. And he says that, you know, once he saw her, you know, she brightened up his day and the whole entire airport. And he's, whew, you know, and I cannot wait to see what that secret is. Like, does she have a boyfriend? All right, so then we go back to Carini and Paul. So Carini has just found out that Paul wants her to take a pregnancy test, and she's upset. And then he drops another bomb that he wants her to take an STD check, and she's annoyed by that too. But she says that she has nothing to hide, so she'll go on ahead and take the tests. And he's saying that he's sorry for that, and she's just like, whatever, dude. She's like, I don't think it's fair that he is judging me based on his past girlfriends. Paul ends up saying that there's something that he still hasn't told Carini yet about himself, that he has been with other girls before, and also one girl in particular who became pregnant while they were together, and it turned out the baby wasn't his. So he was very upset by that. They haven't put it out yet, but there have been rumblings on the internet about his showing up his mugshots. So we'll see about Paul, you know? But I know she'll hold this over him for the rest of her life. Like, as long as they're together, she will always hold this over him. And his behavior, his neuroses, and his, like, awkwardness is going to get on her nerves. I think at some point she's going to realize that, like, she doesn't deserve that she could actually be with somebody who's like not embarrassing her by being weird. I mean, I know she must be so embarrassed. I don't know how Abbie is not embarrassed. Like, these girls, how are they not embarrassed? Like, Abbie must be really into him to like be around her family, like with no shame, none. And I feel the same way with Carini. Like, but that's it for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please join the conversation down below. If you like what I do here on this channel and you would like to become a Patreon patron, please go ahead and click the link down below. That'd be awesome. Yeah, so just let me know what you guys think about this episode. All right, and I'll see you next week. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.